Welcome to The Grow Show, powered by Steel. On The Grow Show, we share ideas, tips, tactics, and insights to help you grow your landscaping business based on our team's 40 years of experience running a landscaping company and working with other owners and their teams to do the same. New episodes are released weekly on Wednesdays. Here's your host, Marty Grunder.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever the case may be. This is Marty Grunder from Grunder Landscaping Co and the Grow Group with another exciting edition of The Grow Show powered by Steel. Today in the Steel studios here at Grunder Landscaping, we have Seth Pflum, president of Grunder Landscaping. Seth, welcome again to The Grow Show.
Thanks for having me.
We always get great feedback when we bring you on. This week, I wanted to talk to you about the communication that we do here with the team. When you've been here 11 years, when you went into the general manager role in January of 18, when you basically assumed the day-to-day operations of the business, you began to change things. And in the last 5 years, the amount of information that we share with our team is really very, very impressive. What I'd like to have you share with everyone here on the Grow Show is, why do we do that? What is the purpose of the sharing? Why do you go to all that time? And then let's talk a little bit about how we deliver information here, because I think everyone, no matter what size your business, if you're a $500,000 a year contractor or $50 million, communication is really important, isn't it?
And I think everyone listening to this, and you agree, you go into any organization and they're going to say the first issue is communication.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, that we don't communicate well.
Yeah. And Mark Thompson, who's been on here, he's both a coach of yours and mine,
right,
a great mentor. And I was talking to him about it, and he goes, every organization I mentor and coach, they say communication is the number one thing to get over. So I guess my philosophy is everyone is learning, even if they may not comprehend some of the, metrics or ideas.
Everyone is learning, even though they may not be understanding initially of what you're sharing. Okay, I got it.
So they're all taking little nuggets away.
Yep.
And I'm a huge believer in vision and everyone having buy-in to it.
Right.
And the only way we can do that is be open and sharing, and not. I mean, there's stuff we have to keep confidential, but be as open as we can, and also open to let them know we're not perfect. We're human. We're doing our best to make plans, think strategically, and get some also feedback in there. But it's hard to get someone like buying into an organization when there's no communication.
And they don't understand what you're doing.
And they don't know how they fit into that growth plan and what their actions do to affect the overall organization for the good and for the growth.
And I think it's fair to say that we have some people here that when we first started sharing, they weren't really understanding what we were saying. There wasn't necessarily any wild change in behavior or engagement with them. But now that we've been on point here for about 5 years now with this regular cadence of the grow meetings, which is once a month, we'll talk about that in a minute. But I can definitely see some people are starting to catch on, can't you?
Yeah. And it's having the correct cadence and then staying with the same structure. Because, I mean,
now that you say that, our meetings always do have the same structure. Right?
And learning, teaching, it's all repetitive.
Right.
Because we always forget or we take a new nugget out of it. And that's what I mentioned earlier. You're still learning.
Right.
Even if you maybe not comprehend the whole philosophy, but the next structure, it's the same. So you comprehend a little bit more. And when you were growing up, how often did you do the multiplication tables?
Oh gosh, nonstop.
Because that's how we learn, and that's how we have to teach.
Yeah.
And it's also not having the mindset. How many times have I said this before? And I fall into that. But I also go to learn.
I do too.
You and I are having conversations daily, a lot of times, about where we're going, what we're doing. But the team members are only hearing it once a month, or they're hearing it once a week versus every day. You and I have text or conversations, it may be. So I got to remind that to myself as well. That's how people.
We're working on some things that might improve retention, and it is difficult. I think the biggest point that you mentioned there is you and I are involved in this stuff all day long. You and I know more about Grunder Landscaping than anybody, and so we take a lot of things for granted. And then we admittedly we get frustrated once in a while when someone says, "Well, I didn't know that," and we're like, "Gosh, we've talked about that for every month for a year." But that's really not a mature response to it. Like, you got to keep talking.
Yeah. And looking at, well, I need to change the way I'm delivering it.
Right. That the problem might be us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or maybe we need to work on having someone else deliver it. And
Excellent
I think that
point.
was one of the biggest impacts is even in the mornings, Jimmy understands the messages.
Jimmy's one of our group leaders,
yep,
right?
And Alan.
Another group leader.
And even Gaston Lorenzo translate it in Spanish. You see it in the mornings. A lot of times I don't take the microphone,
right?
Because it means a lot more coming from those individuals, and they get it and understand it. And if I'm speaking differently than they're used to, they may not understand it.
Right.
So it's developing those relationships so that way it becomes a little bit more cascading down through the organization.
And just to give everyone a little bit of insight, many of you have been here for a field trip, and maybe you've seen videos, but we do a morning huddle with all the production people, and whoever's here from admin and leadership, certainly on Tuesdays when we do training and we don't start till late, they sneak in there. But at that morning meeting, when we first started those, that was kind of all of you.
Yeah.
And then it eventually, the message is coming from Jimmy and Alan, the next tier down on our org chart, if you will. And it is amazing. Most times I'm out there, I don't say anything either. I mean, I'm really, one of the reasons I'm not saying anything is like, I'm really pleased with the message that I hear from them. Yeah, I can't, I'm just going to be stepping on them if I do that. There's no point in that.
And they, by nature, have a great relationship with the team leaders.
Men and women working in the field,
and
right?
So they relate to them more, and they're hearing that, and they're like, well, that's the same message, a little bit different than what Seth said, but same message. And then you get everyone believing in it and understanding it.
So we're talking, we've given everyone kind of a case. We think it's working well. It's engaging. It's getting people interested. Our mission statement is to create opportunities for our team to grow and succeed by enhancing the beauty and value of every client's property while exceeding their expectations every step of the way. So that's our mission statement. We're trying to show them, and what we talk about there, this is the why. We're sharing with you where we're going. Talk to everyone a little bit about where we share the information. I know we do the monthly grow meeting. I'd love it if you took us through that and any other mechanism you want to share with how we share this information.
First, I'm a big believer. We're a team.
Yep.
An entire team.
Yep.
There's not production, sales.
I see.
It's entire team.
Yep.
And I want that communication to come out to the entire team at the same time.
They all matter.
They all matter.
Right.
The same level.
Right.
No one's better than anyone else. So I want them to hear that information together, as unified as we can. Of this is where we're going. Yeah, there's certain information that doesn't need to be passed down, but as far as the roadmap for the organization, I would say that the health scorecard, whatever it may be of the organization, and opportunities in the organization, that needs to be a unified message delivered at the same time to everyone.
So take us through the grow meeting. The things that we share. I know we share our sales. Just give us the high level of what we share.
The first thing, what is the purpose of the meeting?
Right.
We share that every single month.
Why we're meeting.
Yeah.
Right.
And I actually make sure the team members read the bullet points.
Right.
So they're
and we have slides up on the screen. They're in English and in Spanish. Right.
Yep. Every slide's translated.
Right.
And I want to make sure they partake in the meeting. But it's the same structure all the way down through. Your question, I got off tangent here, but
no, you're good.
What am I sharing?
Yeah. What are you sharing? You don't have to tell everything. I don't want to give all our trade secrets away, but I think just like if you were mentoring a 28-year-old guy or gal with $1 million a year company, you would probably tell them to meet once a month, no matter how big their team was, right?
Absolutely.
What would you tell them to share? Like the things that you absolutely have to share? Sales. What else?
Sales, revenue. Whatever goal it may be, we have a goal for square footage of contract for snow. I want the entire team to know what it is. We all had a part in getting there.
Right.
Open positions.
So we're promoting from within, consistent with our mission statement. That's huge.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And then what are your plans?
Yeah.
How are we going to get there?
So we're building another facility. You put a picture of that up. We're trying to get that done. We got a lot of work to do, but you shared with that. I mean, really, there's not a whole lot that we don't share.
We share our revenue plans for the next 2030, so 6 years.
Right.
We share what our next big move is in 5 years. It may not happen, but I want everyone to know we're thinking about it. And also, if it doesn't happen in perfect sequence, we need to explain the why it's not.
Right.
And sometimes the plans are very ambiguous.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. That's where we're going. We're going to have to work as a team to figure out how to get there. But we want to set a bar or a goal out there.
I want to tell you, I think I did tell you this. The best grow meeting that we ever had, in my opinion, was when Jimmy and Alan, our group leaders, got up in front of the whole company and they were talking how our bonus program worked. And I just saw that as like a monumental part of our company's growth, that we had two men that they're not on the leadership team, but they're a big part of our company. And they were communicating to everyone how the bonus program works. They have more influence than you and I do, really. They have, what, 70 people report to them? About? Yeah. No, more like 80?
Yeah.
And that was a big thing. What other takeaways have come from the improved communication, or what could someone expect to have accomplished with that?
Hopefully a unified team that believes in the plans and where we're going. I think that's the biggest thing, because you can't get there alone. You can't get there with little pockets going around talking and kind of, well, we think this is the best direction to go. We think this is the best direction to go. We want to go there. Hopefully everybody starts believing in it. And we've even seen that with Bill, our fleet manager.
Yeah, for sure.
He's jumped in to start helping on projects, and he comes up to
because
me
he
after the
understands.
meeting. He understands.
Right.
And he's had a lot of good input, and it's come out of that meeting. And I learned more about Bill because he came up and just talked to me. He goes, I can help here and here. Yeah. You're getting ready to go through these processes. I can jump in and help you with them. I have experience. I don't. So
would there be any logical reason in your mind, prior to you taking on your role, we were sharing information, but we weren't sharing it with everyone the way you're doing it. We didn't have a regular cadence. We weren't as clear on our goals and everything as you've gotten us. Is there any logical reason for a company not to share information?
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I think being aware that there'll always be certain aspects of that information that are misunderstood or taken a different way.
Yeah.
You have to be careful of that, but you also just recognize it. That's human nature, and that's always going to be there, but be aware of it and focus on the good. The good that comes out of it. As I shared this past Wednesday, life is experiences.
Yep.
Okay. You focus on the good, you have a great life. You focus on the bad, you have a bad life. It's all about focus. So if we're focusing on finding the good out of the communication, that's only going to improve our
what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So our mutual mentor that we work with, Mark Thompson, he said to me many years ago when we were talking about sharing information, and I'm pretty sure I shared this with you. He said, Marty, the reason that a lot of owners and entrepreneurs don't share the information is that they think their employees, their team is going to take it and use it to hurt them. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, well, they think they're going to take the information and go start their own business and like put them under or hurt them. And I said, yeah, I guess a lot of entrepreneurs are afraid to share information. He goes, Marty, what happens is you don't share information, good or bad, with your team. It looks so easy to them. They go out and they start their own business or whatever, and they find out this wasn't that easy. I don't know. Marty and Seth really made it look easy. And I think by keeping it real, by keeping it hot, honest, open, and transparent with your team, you share the good, you share the bad. I do think you got to be careful with the bad, because there is some things that you and I we're going to handle. Okay.
Yeah,
we're not going to we're going to address them. But the fact that we're behind on sales, the fact that we can't get a truck, the fact that one of our clients is upset with us or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of things we want to talk about. It kind of is what it is.
Talk about the things that we have control over.
Right.
And that the entire team can affect and control, and paint it for what it is. If we're behind, we're behind. What can we do as a collective group to improve and grow?
Yeah.
And then Mark told me one time, communication, being afraid to give it, a lot of times we feel like our jobs make us unique.
All right. Okay, I see.
And when we can communicate more people are in, and it's like, then what makes us unique again? But ultimately our jobs are to build an organization that runs without us.
Right.
We don't need to feel like, oh, it's my little nugget. I have to know.
Yeah.
It's the entire team.
Right.
And let them in on it, and don't be afraid of it, because they may do the job better than you.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You make me think of something, just to try to, it's a metaphor, a little thing, but most Americans, folks, spend more time, money, and effort planning their vacations than they do their businesses. No one would ever, you would never go to your wife and say, hey, This afternoon, we're going to go on a week vacation. And
oh God, you know me.
There's no way. And so it's just like, you don't want to be surprising your people. And man, I think the more information you give them, they feel like they're on the inside. They feel connected. They feel a part of it. They feel like their voice has a purpose, has a there's a purpose for what they're doing. They're of significance. And I just think it's a way you engage your team.
And you brought up another great point, change.
Yeah.
And another coach of mine, Kevin Barker. So if you're watching this, Kevin, he shared with me a few weeks ago when I was struggling with some ideas and part of it, he goes, you got to look at it from the outside here. You and the rest of the team, or Marty, have developed this vision. You've been talking about it every single day, so on and so forth. And all of a sudden, as soon as you go out there and just drop it, that's the first time the rest of the team has heard it.
Oh, yeah.
And we
do that.
We've been doing it for 3 months. So he goes, you got to allow time for everyone to catch up and get up to understand it, digest it.
Awesome,
so don't just like say, let's go.
Yeah.
He goes, it has to be a little bit slower, and you have to bring everyone along because it's the first time they're hearing it. They got to digest it, understand it. How does it affect me? And he goes, you and Marty have been talking about it for 3 months.
Yeah, right. And we're
all allowing them for 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that was
and I give
feedback.
You credit, a side little lesson you're sharing, I don't think you or I are afraid to go get help. Like we know other people can help us get better. You need help. You need the advice. You need the wisdom. You need to have somebody help you see other perspectives. So you're going to be at Grow in Des Moines, Iowa, February 6th, 7th, and 8th. You're going to be doing an extended version of this where you're going to be talking about the information that you share. Folks, I hoped in a small way we made an impact on you today. Maybe we gave you some confidence to go and start sharing some information. I don't think if you've never had a meeting and you've never shared anything that you should go out and just take your financial statements out, show them your tax returns. That's not what we're saying. But there would be great value in getting your team together. Talk about what the sales goal is for 2024. Talk about areas that you want to improve. Talk about your goals. We have a slogan for next year, whatever it takes.
Yep.
And start laying the groundwork for that, right?
And we didn't hit on this. We even recognized team members.
Oh, yeah,
birthdays, their anniversaries. Promotions.
Somebody went over 2 million in sales. We gave him a plaque.
That's a big part of it too.
Exactly, a big part of the meeting, an opportunity to recognize them in front of everyone else. Yep. Great. Anything else you want to add?
No. Hope to see everybody at Grow.
Yeah, Seth, I so appreciate you. We've had Seth Pflum, president of Grunder Landscaping Company, on with us today on the Grow Show, powered by Steel. We were talking about the benefits of communicating. Again, Seth is going to do an awesome session on this at Grow, February 6th, 7th, and 8th. Des Moines, Iowa, lovely town, inexpensive town to travel into. For more information, please visit our website. We will talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Grow Show. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and head to growgroupinc.com for more information and resources to grow your landscaping business. A special thanks to the folks at Steel, whose support makes this podcast possible and whose reliable handheld power equipment makes our jobs easier daily. We'll talk to you next week.